While remote work comes with many benefits, it can be hard for employers to create an environment that fosters a sense of belonging that encourages employees to stick around. In today's episode of the Brains Byte Back podcast, Eugene Garla, VP of Talent at Index, a company building a global talent platform of vetted full remote engineers, joins us to discuss how enterprises can stop treating tech talent like handymen and make them loyal in the long term. In the episode, Eugene shares why employees need to shift their perspective when it comes to remote work, advocating that no longer is this working style strictly for digital nomads traveling the world. Instead, he argues that those who work remotely should be seen as equal to other types of employees, and that the only difference for many is the fact that they do not go to an office. Eugene also explains why it's important to take into consideration the passions and interests of the tech talent you are interviewing to understand what drives them, instead of primarily looking at their skills. And finally, Eugene, who speaks 4 languages, shares advice and tips on how to learn a new language. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Our listeners should be familiar with Index since we previously had the founder, Sergio Matai, on the show a year ago. But for those who are new to Brains Byte Back, Eugene, can you explain what the company does along with your name and what you do for the company, please?
Yeah, my name is Eugene. I'm the VP of Talent, and I'm responsible for the whole talent side at Index. This means from the first hello that we are saying to a new developer that we've never talked to before, until keeping engaged for several years developers that are working with us with our clients. And Index is a global tech recruitment platform of first-class, fully remote engineers that are vetted and are available to be contracted for long-term IT projects. And mainly we help mature startups and scale-ups, companies that are growing fast, to augment their engineering team. It can be from closing some tech gaps that they would have in their teams, maybe 1 or 2 roles, but at the same time, we provide complete developer teams that would include front-end, back-end, QA, and DevOps. And our role is to help tech companies fulfill their visions. When they are fulfilling their visions, it means that we are fulfilling ours.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to discussing this topic, and I really did enjoy the last episode that we had with Index a year ago. Actually, it was in December in 2021. So for those who are long-term listeners of Brains Byte Back and did catch that episode, I'd love it if you could share what has transpired at Index over the past year, and how has the company progressed since we last spoke at the end of 2021.
Yeah, I will really appreciate your invitation, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this podcast. It really happened a lot. I joined the company in January 2022, so I haven't been in Index for more than a year, but already feels like like many years. I think for those that are listening to us and they are in the tech space, they might relate with what I'm going to say. I think we can divide 2022 into 2 parts, into 2 halves. The first one would be January, June, when we were growing a lot. We grew our executive team. I joined the team in January, and then we have a new VP of Finance, Product and Strategy, Andy, that joined in June as well. We also grew in our departments with great talent that joined us to help complete our mission of making remote tech project available to everyone everywhere. And we did grow in the number of developers that joined our communities, in the number of tech companies that we work with. So yeah, is really amazing. On the second half, since a big hub of our developers come from Eastern Europe, Ukraine war started affecting us 3-4 months after it started, and it was a bit clear that unfortunately the war does not stop there. So then we got a bit affected expected in the numbers of developers coming from this region, plus the tech freeze, the tech layoffs that happened, especially from August and September. Of course, also had a bit of a smaller impact on us. Now, I must admit, 2022 was a great year. We did grow a lot. We really are thankful for all the companies that believe in remote work, believe that great engineers can be found not only in great tech hub cities, but they can be found in countries like Serbia or Turkey or Colombia or Chile. And yeah, we really thank them that they are helping developers create great product from the remote countries that they are in. And if I have to sum up, definitely a great year. Index is in X number bigger. I think at the end of this year we'll do all the evaluation, but we definitely grew. Would really hope that that the war and the tech layoffs will stay behind with this year.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it does feel like 2022 has been an exceptionally crazy year. So yeah, I certainly do hope as well that these things come to an end. But I do have to say congratulations in the face of all of this. It's fantastic to hear that you folks that have progressed so much and persevered and still been able to grow. So yeah, congratulations on that. And
Thank you.
yeah, no worries. And also in the previous episode, we spoke about the hurdles when hiring or working in international teams and companies. Now, I'm sure that we could record many episodes on that topic, as it is a fascinating subject that is increasingly more important for today's growing decentralized workforce. However, in today's episode, I really wanted to focus specifically on how enterprises can stop treating tech talent like handymen and make them more loyal in the long term. So, Eugene, what advice would you give to our listeners interested in making their tech talent more loyal in the long term?
Yeah, thank you. It's a really great question, and it's in the right year to address it. What I would say is first of all, there should be an internal mind shift, an attitude shift towards the remote colleagues. For so many years, people that were working remotely were either seen as these nomads that travel the world with a backpack, or they have just a special situation at home that it's not a choice. They are obliged to stay more or work more from home. What I really hope is that there will be an internal attitude and mind shift that remote workers are great workers and they are just like anybody else. The only difference is that they don't go to office like other colleagues do. But in terms of the result that they can give or the added value that they can bring to a company, they are as equal as anybody else. So I think once that happens in the approach, in the mindset, in how you address every interview with a candidate, a lot of things will start to improve from there. Another thing would be to be very clear in the job posting. What do you mean by remote work or remote flexible? Or there are so many types of way how companies are disguising this. I would rather call it hybrid or not call it remotely from the beginning, because a lot of time and candidates are saying to us that yes, we've been to this interview with this company and they had remote as their job posting tag, but then we actually, when we went into details, they said that we mean remote 3 times in an office in the week. So I think at the end of the day, this doesn't play well for the brand of the company, because the attitude and the information that the candidate is having about that company is that basically were not truthful from the beginning in the relationship. So how they could work for them long term. So I think starting being very clear and precise about your attitude towards remote, and even if you're hybrid, just be open about it, explain what we need. Even if we are fully remote, platform. We do have developers that agreed with their project, with their companies, to go once per month or once per quarter. But at least that was good when the information was clear from the beginning. So I think that should be definitely something that companies should change in the next year. And last but not least, I think that the way you are designing jobs, it should be designed a remote first job from the beginning. I think a lot of times still companies are designing remote jobs as this handyman, exactly the metaphor that you used. This is role is for somebody that doesn't come to office, so they will, I don't know, just change some button in an app. I hope that they will start seeing remote contractors as any other employees, and they will be designing the roles for them, thinking that this person will be the next 12, 18 months with the company. So how are you building that role? How are you building the growth or the career path, even if somebody is fully remote? So once a company will start do there with changing the mindset, with changing the how we are describing our roles and being very clear about it, and also in designing the job requirements or even the job roles with our hiring managers. I think just doing that will definitely help companies tap this new untapped talent pool that they had never had before. Companies from New York recruiting from Argentina, or companies from UK recruiting from Bosnia. It's amazing. We are really living amazing times.
Hopefully you're enjoying the show, and if you are, make sure you subscribe and never miss an episode. You can find us on all your usual podcast sites: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and a whole lot more, including YouTube. And we want to hear what you think, so be sure to leave us a review. Just search Brains Byte Back wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, one thing that stood out for me there was your advocation that these posts should have clarity. And I could not help but think of a meme that a friend of mine posted. He's a programmer, and he posted this meme where it's a discussion between a programmer and a recruiter. And the programmer asks the recruiter, like, "Oh, can you tell me what the salary is like in this role?" And the recruiter goes, "Oh, don't worry, it's very competitive. Now, can you tell me about your skills?" And the programmer responds, "Oh, don't worry, my skills are very competitive." That really made me chuckle. So I really do think like you advocating that there should be more clarity, especially when it comes to like the flexibility, or like just like defining what the job entails in that sense, is something that really stood out for me. So I think those are some solid points there. And I can also imagine that part of retaining top tech talent is also depends on how well they gel with the company and their coworkers and the company culture overall. I saw on Index's website that you previously posted a blog, or not you previously, but the company obviously, a blog titled 7 Traits to Look For When Hiring Top Level Remote Developers, Excluding the Hard Skills. The blog covers some great insights, such as highlighting that high-performing remote developers are confident communicators, effective team players, and have a positive attitude towards work. But would you be able to share some other insights of how to pick top tech talent that sticks around?
Yeah, definitely. What I'd like to add to the points that you mentioned is I really hope companies will also vet the ability and the desire of the developer to work remotely. I think that people somehow don't really understand that there are developers that really are high performance when they work remotely, and there are developers that don't really perform how they used to when they were in the office, and they went back home, and the quality of the code or the speed of the code is just not the same. So I think this should be part already in the interview process. If up until now you are not addressing this issue, I would really recommend for talent acquisition or for hiring manager to start addressing that, because once you actually understand what was the motivation, how do they organize their workspace, space, how do they organize their day. You start understanding people that actually thrive in working remotely, and people that wait for the next job when they'll go back to the office, which is fine as well. So I think adding that into the selection might also help reduce some of the friction and some of the bad conversions and high retention or low retention at the end of the process. Another thing is understanding that not all developers are the same, and even though the code looks the same, or the language, I don't know, let's say Java can be used to build also a betting app, but also a healthcare app. You need to understand that there are developers that don't want to build apps, for example, that help people build betting dependencies. So I've seen a lot of hiring managers getting very upset that the developer did not accept their offer. And I'm saying, but have you ever even asked if a developer is passionate about healthcare, or maybe they want to change the way people are perceiving the world of e-learning. And not everyone is passionate about money and crypto, even if they are blockchain developers. Not everyone wants to build a new coin, so that's fine. So it's important to understand what are the projects that developers really thrive and they want to help companies build. And finally, I think also understanding that yes, maybe the tech talent would be a bit more quiet or introvert, or they will not be the first one to come with ideas for online parties or gatherings. But this does not mean that they don't like to be part of a team, that they don't like to build relationships. They maybe just are doing it very differently than people from marketing or for sales from HR are doing that. So I think that definitely inviting and helping remote IT colleagues being part of the cultural elements of the company would help with that long-term retention. So yeah, just making sure, asking about their passion, not just if they like to write code, for what exactly, asking if they actually love being remotely, and how are they organizing their work to make them thrive. And also inviting them to being part of the cultural elements, even if they don't show the biggest enthusiasm. Trust me, on the long term they'll appreciate that you at least made them feel part of something bigger.
That's really nice. And I love the fact that you consider almost their personality when it comes into this. And you can advocate, like, you can't expect the same thing from everyone. In the example you gave there with introverts, I think that's like classic. And I know some developers and they are quite introverted. I also know some developers, a good friend of mine, he's got ADHD as well. So that plays a big role in like how he operates. And I think taking those things into consideration is really important and can often be forgotten. But I love the fact that you are, yeah, such an advocate for that, and you brought it up on the show. Now, before we wrap things up, I would love to ask you, what's next on the horizon for Index?
Yeah, well, first of all, I really want, and my only desire for these holidays and Christmas, it's for the war to end as quick as possible. As someone that lived 4 years in Ukraine, for me, it's yeah, it's painful what's happening every day there, and for the tech layoffs and freezes to stay behind, and hopefully January will bring again hope and smile to people working in the tech industry. So hopefully that will happen with the going to a new year. But we are very excited. Nevertheless, what's the world will bring us. We are very excited about 2023. I think I would mention two main things that we are really interested and we're working towards next year. First one would be community, especially on the talent side, where I'm overseeing this area of Index. I think finally we can say that the pandemic and restrictions are more or less over, and we can get back to seeing a lot of our developers face to face. I think people think that developers or even us working people that work remotely don't like meeting people. That's not true. It's just we see the way we organize work very, very differently, but we do love meeting people face to face. So in the next year we hope to do our Balkan tour, where most of our developers are based in, and we would like to have a trip to Serbia, Turkey, Bosnia, Romania, Macedonia, Albania, and meet a lot of our developers face to face. Thank them for building such great products with our clients, and why not invite more people that maybe they would need just a face to face meeting to being convinced to join on Index platform. And I think the second very, very exciting thing for next year, it's the index.dev itself, our platform. We are working on our new iteration, our new improved version. And when our clients or our developers will log into their profiles next year, they will have better interface, they'll have more functionality there, and hopefully that will make their life easier. And if they are happy, then we are happy as well. That's our role here, is to make sure that we are building tech, but at the same time we are having fun. We are improving the world while keeping the smile on our faces. And these two at least are very exciting for next year, but there will be much more.
Awesome. Well, I have to say, yeah, I completely stand by you on both of those wishes. I mean, this war in Ukraine cannot be over soon enough. So yeah, I really hope that that does come to an end swiftly. And again, same with these tech freezes and the shrinking in that sense. And also, I think it sounds like you've got some fantastic things lined up for 2023. And no doubt, who knows, maybe we'll have another call in December 2023. It'll be our annual catch up. And I hope all of these things come to fruition. But you did actually mention about your time in Ukraine, and that kind of leads me on to a final thing that I wanted to bring up. And this is on a completely separate note. I did actually see on your LinkedIn that you speak 4 languages: English, Romanian, Russian, and Ukrainian, which is incredible. So congratulations on that. And I know this is really off topic, but I love learning languages, and it's a topic I bring up a lot on the show. So do you have any advice for listeners out there who are trying to pick up a new language?
Yeah, thank you for the compliment. I'm actually right now learning Greek, since I've moved to Greece 3 years ago. So it's it is a complicated process, because it's a language that has a completely different alphabet and roots, and it's speaking only in Greece. So the motivation that you are learning a language that you can use only in one territory, it's hard. But yeah, I think if I might sound like a grandpa right now, but I would recommend for those listening, and if they are in their 20s, to start learning a new language today. What I've noticed is that it is different, and it is becoming harder and harder when you are learning a new language in your 20s, in your 30s, where when you are reaching 40s or past how I am at this moment. It's biology, but at the same time, it's also priority and motivation, and the way you learn a new language. So if I would recommend something, I would say start today. But the second thing is definitely use technology. I'm amazed about, as a person that mostly learn new language through interactions and through social gatherings, and learning the most popular number one Ukrainian song, or number one Greek song that went to Eurovision, or some other things that help you learn a language. I do recommend using technology. That where is the some apps today, with the way they are holding your hand step by step to go through the process? It's just amazing. And yeah, I'm using one, very helpful, and I see the progress, and I recommend to do there. And yeah, the first thing is definitely don't be afraid to use it. What I've learned in every new country where I learned a new language, the language that the locals are speaking, they do appreciate the effort. And even if you're speaking few words, that gives enough motivation to learn few more the next day. And waiting until you'll be speaking perfectly, it's probably not the best way to go. So if you learn 10 words, try to use them today. That will bring some smiles, some chuckles on some people's faces, but this will give you the boost to wake up tomorrow and learn 10 new words. So yeah, those would be the things that I would recommend, and definitely do it. Learning new language, reading or listening to songs or theater play in the language of the city that you are visiting is just an incredible experience.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that advice. I myself am based in Colombia, but you can tell that I'm from the UK originally. I think that's quite clear with the way I speak, but I definitely understand what you mean about the locals really appreciate that. And I've always made an effort to learn the local slang words, and that's almost always one of the first things I gravitate to. I'm like, what is unique in this area or this country when it comes to the words that are spoken? And you always see that people always appreciate that. If you use like the common phrase for like friend, obviously that varies in different places. Like different parts of the Spanish speaking world have different versions. It's not just amigo everywhere. They have their own little version. I always try and use that as much as I can in a sentence because it really does make a difference. So yeah, I wish you the best of luck with learning Greek. And if anyone wants to keep up with you, Eugene, all the work that you folks are doing at Index, how can they do that?
Yeah, we are quite popular on LinkedIn. We try to keep our pages updated, and on index.dev we have also a news section and a blog sections where we try to share our journey. We're a 3-year-old startup that grew quite fast. We would like to inspire new generation of entrepreneurs, people that believe that we are now at the bridge of something new, which is remote work. And I think we are just starting this. This is day 1 out of 100. So really excited what type of founders or startups will enter this space. And just you can find us on LinkedIn or on index.dev, and hope to connect with the people that want to make the world a better place through tech.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much once again for joining me today. It has been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much as well. Thank you for having me.
Growing a company has many hurdles, from securing funding to expanding your business capabilities to ranking better on search. Each business challenge is uniquely complex. The solution to these challenges is growth-focused digital PR and marketing, and that is where our sponsor Publicize comes in. Publicize sets itself apart from traditional PR companies. It does not charge large retainers or churns out press releases whether you've got a newsworthy announcement or not. Publicize builds businesses' online presence and gets high-quality PR and media coverage for startups and entrepreneurs who are priced out of a broken PR industry. What's more, listeners of Brains Byte Back can find the tools and resources they need to overcome common hurdles that many startups face when trying to generate long-term growth by visiting publicize.co/BBB. That's publicize.co/BBB. This is the end of today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this and you want to hear more episodes just like it, then follow and subscribe to Brains Byte Back wherever you get your podcasts. We're also available on YouTube under the channel of our publication, The Sociable. Just search Brains Byte Back and you'll find all of our episodes there. We really love hearing what you have to say, so leave us a review on iTunes or on any other podcasting platform to let us know what you think. You can also reach out on Twitter at The Sociable. And finally, go to sociable.co where you can find all our episodes and plenty of articles on topics just like this. Thanks again for joining us, and until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. Disclosure: this episode contained a client of an Espacio portfolio company.